Man, welcome back to the Cruise Dynasty podcast. Back at it again, doing what we do. As always, I have the Crab Man with me. What's going on, Crab Man?
You know, it's good to have you back. We missed you last week, but just sitting out here on the porch, getting ready to talk some football with you guys. I'm excited tonight. I'm ready to roll.
Craft Man, no doubt. I'm so happy to have our tech guy back in the building. T Swizzy, been busy doing his own thing. Chris, what's going on, big dog?
Not much. Working my ass off, and when I'm not at work, I'm out here taking care of all these fucking animals that I have for no goddamn reason.
Chris lives that farm life.
Killing myself.
Man, tonight I'm kicking back, drinking a beer. I got me one rolled up. So we talking redraft. So you know I got my main man in Pate Poopa, cousin in. When you read the description, he's cousin in on the description. Ian, what's going on, big dog?
Oh, my bad. I thought you finished your introduction, dude. You always give me the best.
Bad.
You give everybody the best introductions, dude. No, dude. Shout out to Matt Hamm, the ham sandwich, best meat on the block. Thank you for having me on the Cruise Dynasty podcast. Love being here with you guys. We got the fucking crew in here today. I've been wanting to get on with you two fools. I can't wait. I can't wait for this. There's no telling what's about to happen tonight. Let's get it going.
Yeah, man. So basically, you know, me and Craft Man, we've been kind of switching into what's going on happening next year. You know, we hopped in them best ball streets for a little while, still in them, and we'll probably drop more best ball episodes as we go on through the summer. I don't want to give it up. Trying to win that big money. Got to get that $200,000 in my pocket, Craft Man. I won't stop till I get that 200,000 up in there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm going for the 1.5 mil. I don't know about you.
There you
What
go, cousin.
kills me,
See, that's
Craft-
how we think.
What kills me is these people out here, they fill up them entries. You get 148 entries, they'll fill up all 148 of them, man. I do like 3 or 4 and then try to crack the code or whatever. Motherfuckers out there doing 200 of these things, man. It's ridiculous.
All I need
you
is
ain't
one.
putting $2,000 in, you ain't winning. Nah, I don't know. Always a chance.
I agree. So basically, we switch it to it. We talk about next year. We getting into some redraft talk, as more specifically division breakdowns. Let's see. What we talk about? AFC North today. So we're gonna talk about the Ravens, the Browns, the Bengals, the whoever I'm missing.
Steelers.
The motherfucking Steelers.
Wow, they're gonna
So
shit on me
AFC
for that.
North-
I'm gonna tag the Steelers in this video.
Tag them in it. So with that said, 5-star review, and thanks for listening to the podcast. And I am glad to be back. But tonight, AFC North and Craft Man. Since we're talking about the AFC North, you know me, I keep the gambling odds in front of me at all times. Baltimore favored plus 110. Then we got Cincinnati at plus 180. Then Cleveland Browns plus 160. Pittsburgh at plus 1100. So no shot for them. Let's just start from the top. Let's talk about our Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson. Let's see. You know what? One thing that I always think about the Ravens now, Craft Man, and you know me, I used to like a little Rashad Bateman, but every year the Rashad Bateman hype, he comes back, man. He's part of that list, Craft Man. The Jerry Judys, the Cam Akers, he's part of that list right there, man. Where people just don't want to let him go. But I just like to bring that up because I was thinking about him, and you know how I got that list of people that they just can't hate. But Craft Man, Baltimore Ravens.
I like how we talk about the Ravens. The first thing we bring up is Rashad Bateman. I don't know how we got there, but we're here. And
I was on the same page, man. I wasn't sure where that was going, but let's do it. Let's talk Bateman.
We talk about sleepers first on this podcast. We don't talk about the guys that everybody else talks about.
Fuck 'em.
That's how we do, baby.
After saying all that, I don't have much to say about Rashad Bateman. Does anybody else have anything to say about him? Chris,
Yeah, I mean,
you in on him?
I mean, my thoughts come with I need to see Lamar throw that ball like he did in college. Then he needs to stop doing all this running and stuff. That's what's going to lead to Rashad Bateman even being good. He can't have a chance, one, if he's not on the fucking field because he's hurt. Two, if you're not getting targets, you can't make plays.
Behind Zay Flowers, behind Mark Andrews, obviously Lamar's.
Well, I don't even count Mark Andrews
option.
because let's be honest, is Mark Andrews playing even half the season?
Mark Andrews gonna. We can't predict injuries. You know, Mark Andrews is the number one on that team.
Well, if the same thing happens over and over and over again, a different result doesn't happen, then that's insanity, bro.
He's got to do something this year. He's got to do something this year. Crap, man. The reason why I brought up Rashad Bateman was because he was just I just started hearing that hype again, and I was like, wow, again, another year of this shit.
We had to bring him up. I just didn't expect it to be first.
Here's the truth.
Technically, go ahead.
Zay Flowers, all these guys. If they're a wide receiver on the Ravens, I don't really care for them that much. That's just the truth. Zay Flowers right now. Let's go check his ADP at. And this right here is redraft. One quarterback, redraft, half PPR. That's what I'm looking at ADP tonight, peeps. I mean,
yeah. Why you look that up? Go ahead.
Zay Flowers goes as wide receiver 25. He's going ahead of Tank Dell, T. Higgins, George Pickens, Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, Christian Kirk. A bunch of players I'll take ahead of Zay Flowers.
No doubt.
Go ahead, Em.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, Zay Flowers really didn't show us much last year. I like him. He looks good. But we all know Mark Andrews is the real wide receiver one there. So that technical wide receiver one, wide receiver two is open. And Bateman, he's a big boy. He's still fairly young, I believe, like 24. So Zay Flowers is 23. I mean, anything can happen in the league, man. It's just it's all about capitalizing on your opportunities. So he'll have more opportunities this year. It's up to him to mess it up.
Chris, you got anything to add to the passing game before we hop into the run game? What people really want to hear about?
I need to see more of the passing game is what I need to see. Because I feel like that they do they have a good front line that can block and let Lamar get out. Because, I mean, we see how he can extend plays and all of that. But in the end, he just decides to run the ball because that's what works. I don't see him running the offense. And then when they're doubling down and going getting Derrick Henry, that doesn't exactly scream to me that they're going to actually let Lamar air it out. Because I figured we'd see more of that this past year because of the offensive coordinator change and all of that. But that didn't really happen. Mark Andrews did get hurt, missed a lot. But Rashad Bateman was also hurt. Zay Flowers underperformed. He had a few good games, but it wasn't consistent. And I just got to see if they're going to commit to the pass. If he's not throwing the ball up, the only thing I can say that you better not be starting none of these receivers. Like, these people should be, like, tucked away somewhere.
Go ahead.
I think they're startable. I think Zay Flowers is definitely startable. I mean, he's going, as a solid wide receiver too right now. And 77 receptions last year for 858, 5 touchdowns. That's not a bad rookie season. But like you mentioned, Chris, with Derrick Henry coming in, there's gonna be a lot of read option going on in that offense. Do you stop Derrick Henry? Or do you stop Lamar Jackson? That's gonna be their bread and butter this season. They're gonna run a lot of it. And there's going to be some big plays off of it. I think it's going to look a lot like, Philly did with, Jalen Hurts back there running a lot of read option. But as far as it goes with Derrick Henry coming in, a lot of touchdowns going to him. Mark Andrews, still a beast. Zay Flowers is just going to have to take like a massive step for him to return ADP and to be like a breakout candidate, which I don't think I'd label him as a breakout, which a lot of people are.
Disagree.
My next question. Go ahead, Ian. You who I want to talk to next. Go ahead.
I do. Zay Flowers is actually one of the people I would consider a breakout candidate.
I think we lost him.
I think we lost him.
He's sitting there froze right now. I can't hear him. He said he considered him a breakout candidate, and then I think he was going to say, never mind. I don't think he's going to be a breakout candidate because it's Zay Flowers.
Well, shoot, crap, man. Let's hear what we got Derrick Henry. He's going as the running back 10. What are we expecting from Derrick Henry this year? I know when I was thinking, I wasn't thinking that Derrick Henry was washed, but you had brought it up a long time ago, Craftman, talking about you never seen him run out the shotgun. I do agree that they'll be running a lot of read option. So what are we expecting from Derrick Henry this year? Like, I've heard one podcast, Dynasty DNA. I think the guy on there said 10 touchdowns, rushing touchdowns for Derrick Henry, easy. What you say?
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I could definitely see that the way Gus Edwards was doing his thing last season, and especially around the red zone. But I don't think you should worry about Derrick Henry that much. I mean, we did mention he didn't run out of shotgun much, but he also hasn't played with this type of rushing threat at quarterback before either. That's going to take attention away from him. In Tennessee, it was a lot of play action when Tannehill was there. And, he faced a lot of stacked boxes. I don't think there's going to be – he's going to have – if he's not washed, he's going to have a great season. He's going to have a lot of touchdowns, going to have a lot of rushing yards, but can't ever expect him to – Lamar already don't, pass it down to the running backs, but check it down. So that wasn't ever a big part of his game anyway. So first and second down is going to be all his, and then we'll probably see somebody else on third downs.
Chris, what you think about old Derrick Henry in the building? Let me ask you this, Chris. Would you pay if you had a first round pick and you was assuming it was like a mid to late? Would you pay that 25 first to get Derrick Henry for a championship run at Dynasty?
I mean, I don't know. I may just hold on to the pick.
Okay.
I'm paying that price.
I think that it could pan out, and it could work, but I haven't really seen Lamar dedicate. He takes, from watching him play all these years, he's not handing the ball off that much. Even during the read option, he's keeping it because that's what works for them. So, but what I think with Derrick Henry is that 4 games out of the year, he's playing the Browns or the Steelers. Steelers, which benefits Derrick Henry, is they have some of the best edge rushers in the NFL. They got Myles Garrett on the Browns, and you got T.J. Watt on the Steelers. Those edge rushers are going to be containing Lamar to stay in the pocket, causing him to give the ball off to Derrick Henry, and I think that's what's going to be crucial when having Derrick Henry. When they play these people that have the really good edge rushers on the end that are going to fucking sit and spy the QB whenever they see where they're going to hand the ball off, and that's going to let Derrick Henry get that speed out of the shotgun when they're doing that. And like I said, if they get in the red zone, I think Derrick Henry could have 10 to even maybe 15 touchdowns this season if they use him right.
And Potty Pooper, I got right here in front of me, ADP, Derrick Henry is going as the running back 10 in redraft, half PPR. He's going ahead of Josh Jacobs, Isaiah Pacheco, Rashad White, James Cook, Kenneth Walker, Joe Mixon. How do you feel about that?
I feel like that's too low for the King, man.
Dang,
honestly, dude. Yeah, dude. Derrick Henry is proven running back. I mean, he's only had very few seasons outside the top 15, much less the top 10. I mean, he is an older running back, but I mean, when you look at it, he plays every game all season, whether they stack the box on him or not. He gets great finishes. I mean, last year he finished with 13.7 points per game, half PPR. He's really starting to catch the ball now. And we talk about this all the time. I know, at least me in Austin, I want the running back in Baltimore. I just do. I mean, according to Yahoo, they're ranked first in rushing yards per game at 156, but 21st in passing. And having that bell cow running back, I mean, why not take another chance on Derrick Henry? I mean, I'm trying to get him in every league. He's a first round player, early second at least, in my opinion, and you can get him for a steal in the back half of the second, early in the third a lot of times. And I think you should take a chance on Henry. I mean, until he proves me wrong, why not?
Well, let's put it to the test. If you were on the clock, Derrick Henry or Devon Achane?
And see, this is a good one because me and Austin did a mock draft the other day, and this was something we talked about. But I think I came to the conclusion I would take Derrick Henry over HN right there.
What about over Derrick Henry or ETN?
This is the other one that we talked about, and etched ETN a little bit over Henry. Just the sheer fact. I mean, he's up there, and he's an undeniable talent. And also because I feel like you can get Henry later too. That's another thing. Is
you like his his value, his ADP. I agree with that too. What about one more just in a vacuum? Would you this year? 80 push ADP aside. Who's going to be better this year, Derrick Henry or Kyren Williams?
Derrick Henry or Kyren Williams?
Yep.
That's a good question, dude. Coming from not an expert, but somebody who knows and loves running backs, pays attention to these guys. Honestly, I think Kyren Williams, man, the boy was a cunt hair from 20 points per game in half PPR fantasy football last year. And he's got talent. He's got a good squad around him. You know, he's kind of a sneaky pick in there. And like we were just talking about, the Ravens really don't have those receivers. So Derrick Henry might get a stacked box, but Lamar kind of opens that up a little bit. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think who did I say? What?
Kraft man. Derrick Henry or Isaiah Pacheco?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna roll with Pacheco on that boat, but Derrick Henry's right there close to it.
How about this one, Chris? Derrick Henry or Josh Jacobs?
I'm gonna take Josh Jacobs with the Packers.
See, I'm just wondering where all y'all are at. Everybody mixing around. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Kraft man. I just wanted to see. Go ahead. I mean, how do you feel about his ADP? Because here's my thing, Kraft man. His ADP's at 10, and I have definitely taken every single one of these running backs I have drafted, literally. Yep, every single one. I've drafted every single one of these in best ball right now, except Derrick Henry. And personally, I would take Pacheco, Rashad White, James Cook, Kenneth Walker. I would take those four over Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs for sure.
So this is why we do this though, because Ian's obviously the highest. I'm somewhere in the middle, and Chris is lower, and you're the lowest. So we all have different opinions on them. But the Ravens, they got the fourth hardest strength of schedule this season. I was looking at their first couple games. They got Kansas City at Kansas City. They got Vegas, who's a really good defense. Then they got Dallas, Buffalo, and then it eases up a little bit. But the first four games look a little tough. But I don't know. Derrick Henry is definitely a different player in full PPR and half PPR down to standard scoring. I mean, in standard scoring, he should be ranked way up there. Yeah. But in half, which is what we play our redraft in, I think he should be definitely in the top 10. Because like Ian said, he don't finish outside of the top 10, and I don't expect him to finish outside of the top 10 again this year. I'd definitely take him over Josh Jacobs. That's just me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shoot. Lamar Jackson, same old, fellas. That's another good year.
Yeah.
MVP last year. Does he decline? Does he drop off? Chris, does Lamar drop off this year?
No.
All right. Then.
I think we might see if he continues to play the way he does, we might get 2 more years out of him. Before he just. Well, I mean, if he continues to play how he did, I mean, Cam Newton was a hell of a fucking player before he hurt that shoulder, and then he was done.
He don't take them kind of hits like that though. He's a different. Cam Newton was looking for contact. I don't know.
I
kind of disagree with that one.
I worry more about Josh Allen when it comes to that, because Josh Allen do be running into people. I worry a lot more of that with Josh Allen than I do Lamar.
All right.
Yeah.
Fellas, anything we want to say about Baltimore? I want to move on, talk about the Bengals. Anything you want to add? Ian, go ahead.
I got one more thing to add. We can't talk about Baltimore without talking about their defense. And the only reason I bring up the defense, fantasy football, when you to draft them. But like me and Crapman were talking about the other day, a team with a really good defense is going to give your running back or running backs more opportunities and more chances to score, essentially. So that's what you got to take in consideration too. I mean, you got to think through all these things. What separates a good fantasy football player from an Ian? You know.
Yeah, I agree with that because Derrick Henry in his past, if you look at his splits between when the Titans were winning and when they were losing, it was like a totally different player. So he's finally going to be playing on a team that's playing from ahead a lot.
Yeah, that does kind of sway me a little bit. That is true. I agree. I agree 100% with that point.
So Matt, who would you take? Would you take just real quick? Because you got to ask everybody. Let me ask you this: would you take, say, Cooper Kupp or Mike Evans over D Henry right there in the second, or what? Where you got D? Where you got Henry at?
I mean, I'm not really low on Derrick Henry, I feel like, but I just do feel like I never draft him. I don't know who I'm picking around in best ball and all that.
You said you would take Rachaad White over Derrick Henry?
Big time.
Oh yeah, I would take Rachaad White over Derrick Henry.
I don't even. That one's not even really
half PPR and full PPR for sure.
Interesting.
That's 2 versus 2.
Let me just look and see where Derrick Henry's going real quick. As far as with everybody, Derrick Henry is going around Sam Laporta, Josh Jacobs, Travis Kelce, Nico, Mike Evans, Debo. I mean, he's not in a bad spot to where you would to snag him.
Yeah, I guess it depends on where you went with your first round.
Yep, Ian's totally right. That's the truth, Kraft man. Because I've been sending you my best balls. I've been going running back exclusively. So by the time I'm not looking to draft Derrick Henry, I'm looking for Cooper Kupp. That's just how it ends up for me.
Yeah.
So I don't really disagree with. I like Derrick Henry, no doubt. Let's go though. Let's move on, man. I want to Cincinnati Bengals. They are the second plus 180, so close odds. I see good value in that as far as gambling. Because I know the Craftman is going to have some good things to say about the Bengals. And listen, I feel like the Craftman thinks I hate the Bengals. Man, there's no doubt. I do not hate them. I think Jamar Chase is good. I think Joe Burrow is good. But Joe Burrow got to get – I mean, what if he goes down again this year? What if he goes down again this year, man? That'd be 3 times, man. That shit'll be wild. I mean, what are we going to think about him then, Craftman? The same old, or – that's just my only thing. I don't really like to talk about health and everything, but I'm not saying – I just think it's a little more than a one-off. And I do think Joe Burrow's still going to have T. Higgins up in there. They'll probably try to get the rookie involved, Jermaine Burton. Zach Moss. I'm high on Zach Moss this year.
Yeah.
But Bengals all the way, and I know you like that Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase stack for this year, Kraft man.
Yeah, that's my league winners this year is the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase stack. I got an ongoing bet with Levi right now at the start of the season that Jamar Chase outscores CeeDee Lamb on the season. So that's how big a season I think Jamar Chase is going to have. I try not to draft. I've been playing fantasy especially redraft for probably 12 to 15 years at this point. And I give up on trying to predict injuries. I'm done with it. I'm taking the players that I think are going to have great seasons and throw the injuries aside unless it's a devastating lower body injury like an ACL or an Achilles or something like that. I mean, of course, I'm on I'm not gonna draft them guys really high when they're coming off an injury like that. But I mean, I just want to see Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase healthy, and I'm gonna predict my statistics on both of them guys playing all season because who knows? I mean, Dak could get hurt just as easy. He broke his leg one season, and then CD could get hurt. I mean, it doesn't. I can't look into that.
Yeah,
man, it's different though with Joe Burrow and Jamar right now, though.
It is. I mean, me and Austin talked about it, man. When Joe Burrow is there, he's great. But if he gets hurt again this season, I mean, it's be tough, dude. I mean, he went full Slim Shady, bro, and I think it was not coming out this season as Joe Cool. I think he's coming as Joe Kick Ass.
Yeah,
and he's rolling his sleeves up. And he's ready to play some ball, and he's ready to beat Kansas City. I think the boys are going to come out strong. Like you said, I like Zach Moss. He's a good little sleeper running back to get down there, and 2, 1,000-yard receivers, and I don't know how their defense is. I mean, I feel like they're at least, top half. And
they're like middle of the pack,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And I think, go ahead.
Hey, my gut feeling is I am with Kraftman. I do think Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow are about to go off this year. I also think I'll swing it over to Christopher right here. You know where I'm going with this crap, man. We'll slide it over here to Christopher real quick. I seen that T. Higgins expects this could be his last year here. Man, I think T. Higgins is about to go off this year, man.
You would.
Sparingly, because we've seen him go off. We've seen him go off. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's another thing with Jamar Chase. Like, that's how I'll challenge Kraftman too. Like, let's get T. Higgins up out the building too before we start putting Jamar Chase at number one. You tripping?
I think Jamar Chase can coincide with T. Higgins just fine. I mean, they did lose Tyler Boyd, and y'all might seem like he didn't do anything, but the last
he's
averaging almost 65 receptions a year. That's gone. Jermaine Burton's filling in for that role, and Joe Mixon's not there anymore. Their offensive coordinator went over to the Titans, who like to run the ball a lot and hand the ball off on first down. I think Joe Burrow is going to cook this year. I mean, they just paid him a massive contract. They're going for a Super Bowl. You got Zach Moss and Chase Brown at running back. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to throw the hell out of the ball.
Yeah, man. I'm right there with you, dude.
Chris, what's up?
Midway through the season last year.
Oh, my bad.
Let Chris talk about T, and we got to let their Clemson love get in here. They got to.
Oh, the Clemson love. Oh man.
Gotta let the Clemson love in the building.
Man, tell me you didn't watch T. Higgins in college without telling me that you didn't watch T. Higgins in college. I feel like a lot of people get hate on T. Higgins. They don't realize that this kid was good as fuck. He is good.
He was good in the Super Bowl.
Kind of,
Dude, I'm with Chris, man.
He was massive in the Super Bowl. I mean,
y'all got the right
Burrow's been hurt, getting hurt all year. They got fucking Browning out there throwing the ball, competing with Jamar Chase. I mean, this could easily be. I'm not saying nowhere is T. Higgins on Jamar Chase's level, but this should be treated as a 1A, 1B kind of situation. Hey. If the Bengals played like that on offense, they would have won the Super Bowl.
Chris, hear me out. Kraftman wants to give Joe Burrow and them passes for getting hurt, but don't want to give T. Higgins a pass for getting hurt 1 year. Riddle me that.
T. Higgins almost killed a motherfucker on the field.
I just want to let y'all know that Tyreek. I just wanted to let y'all know that Tyreek finished as a wide receiver 2 with Jalen Waddle finishing as a wide receiver 8 one season. So they can coincide.
Joe Burrow to step up. If Joe Burrow about to cook like you say he is, let's support these receivers.
I think
Playing shady ass motherfucker, man.
I don't see Tyreek Hill doing interviews talking about, oh, they better throw me the fucking ball and shit like that, whining like Jamar Chase be whining.
I think T. Higgins being there gives Jamar Chase more opportunities because they can't.
100%.
And same thing with T. Higgins. I mean,
I
saw a stat in the middle of last year. The Bengals were the only team with a wide receiver trio over the last 3 years to each average or to each
have 1,000-yard receiver.
To get 3,000 yards. Yeah. Whether 3 years, 3,000 yards, all 3 receivers. And that's when I was like, let me go check T. And I went out and I got him last year on a whim because I feel like this boy is good. I feel like the Bengals like him. Burrow's good. And wherever he goes, I feel like he will be good. And I think he's a dog. I think he is a little overlooked. He's not really flashy out there, boom, bam, doing all this stuff. But I think wide receiver 2 on your fantasy squad, super solid. One of the best wide receiver 2s in that tier.
All right,
he's a great wide receiver 2 that has finished as a wide receiver 2 once in his career. T. Higgins in the year that Joe Burrow played fully.
He's only like 24, ain't he? 24, 25.
I think he's fine, but that's the argument I've always had with y'all.
Most receivers don't even hit their prime until like 27, 28, and then even at that age, they can play 5 more years.
And then he'll be gone. He won't be with the Bengals anymore.
What was that stat?
Shit, we've had this conversation before. I know that Joe Burrow and all of them was a good quarterback, but I think a team change could benefit Higgins more than hurt it. Give him to one of these teams that don't really have like a solid number one option right now. You take T. Higgins and you put him with Josh Allen.
Yeah, but you gotta say like the great teams. But there's 32 teams in the league.
Okay.
He's going to a few teams.
Get Bryce Young T. Higgins. And we ain't coming in and we ain't coming in last in the NFC South. That ain't saying much, but we're not coming in last in that motherfucker.
All right. I mean, crap, man. This is where I'll fess up to you though. This man T. Higgins, Zay Flowers is going ahead of him. I'll take T. Higgins ahead of Zay Flowers, but we got Tank Dell, George Pickens, Amari Cooper. Those are guys that I like.
I'm T. Higgins
I've been
all
picking
those.
George Pickens all year, so that's where I've not been getting T. Higgins. Because if I had to, who's got higher upside? It does feel like George Pickens has got a higher upside than T. Higgins this year.
I just don't trust the quarterback play there yet.
I just think that the Steelers are going to be run heavy. They hired Arthur Smith. I think that we're just going to see the Falcons offense of the past few years in fucking Pittsburgh.
Could be.
Yeah,
man, I don't know. Amari Cooper,
I do like who is it? Who they draft? Roman Wilson, and who Pittsburgh drafted.
No, don't
Wilson,
even talk about Roman Wilson. No,
Kraft,
that's
man.
the boy.
Not to mention all the offensive linemen they picked.
Yeah,
Kraft.
Just for Russ out there to go and throw like 3 interceptions, it'll be great.
Amari Cooper or T. Higgins?
I'd probably go with Amari Cooper.
Oh shit! I think I would too. I ain't gonna lie.
I would go if Deshaun Watson's not playing quarterback. I'd pick Amari Cooper.
Well, Deshaun Watson.
If Deshaun Watson is playing quarterback, I'm not picking Amari Cooper, and I'm a Deshaun Watson guy, but I don't know, man. I think those 2 years that fucked him. I don't know what's going on with Deshaun.
Should we move over to the Browns? Are we good on the Bengals?
I just wanted to point out with Amari Cooper, though. I guess we will talk about the Browns, and we'll get to there. But
I got a fact about the fucking Bengals.
Go ahead, fact.
On defense, on average, T. Higgins draws more coverage than Jamar Chase.
Hey, that's another thing to mention, though. The Bengals defense should be trash, so they're gonna have to keep up.
Yeah,
they'll be like middle of the pack, lower tier.
I think T. Higgins is where he belongs. I would definitely draft T. Higgins. I'm not saying that. I just I was arguing that Jamar Chase is gonna have a massive season. I wasn't really arguing that T. Higgins wasn't gonna have a good season.
All right, crap, man.
Can we agree? Have a good one.
Can we agree? Massive season, but probably not number one overall.
Jamar Chase.
Just one last thing, because I've been running into this on my fantasy drafts. I'm picking at the 5th pick, and a lot of times Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase will come up, and I've been leaning more Jamar Chase mainly because of the quarterback situation in Minnesota. What do y'all think?
No.
What do y'all think?
Yeah.
If Joe Burrow with the quarterback situation in Minnesota, I would easily go Jamar right there. But I have Justin Jefferson in the doo-doo league, so I mean I'm hoping something works out over there. It's gonna be Sam Darnold, but
I got that stack for you, Chris. Hit me up.
I'm good.
This is what I'm saying. Oh heck, I forgot what I was gonna say. Well, oh well.
You were gonna say Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase easy for me. And listen, I would take AJ Brown over Justin Jefferson. That's how I feel.
I don't think that.
I would take Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm talking about redraft 1 year, not dynasty. I would take Justin Jefferson over a lot of these guys. But I'm just talking about redraft 1 year, Chris. How do you?
Oh, I mean, I would take Jahmyr Gibbs.
What about with Jefferson? T.J. Hawkinson's probably not going to start the season. Jordan Addison's probably going to be facing some kind of little tiny suspension.
Fucking idiot.
Justin Jefferson's going to start off hot. He's going to get so many damn targets at the start of the season, and
he's going to get doubled.
It doesn't matter. I mean,
if they got a good defensive coordinator and they can take him out of the picture, they'll shut him down. But if you can't take JJ out, he's going to eat.
These receivers that can move all over the formation are hard to scheme out.
Sam Darnold is about to have a Geno Smith turnaround year.
Okay,
hot take. Watch.
Hot take.
Sam Darnold will come out. They ain't even gonna put McCarthy's sorry ass in the game. They're just gonna keep him on the sideline. They're gonna trade up to get him for nothing.
He'll be in after the bye week, week 6.
Well, Craft Man, let's slide over to the Browns, to the doo-doo Browns. My guy, Deshaun Watson in the building. Just brought in Jerry Jeudy this year. Gave him a 3-year deal. He's going to be around. Amari Cooper, they just slung him $5 million just for the hell of it. David Njoku finished strong last year, but that was with Joe Flacco, who is not there anymore. Jameis Winston, famous Jameis, up in there.
Not a bad backup.
Nope, not a bad backup. So Nick Chubb, bad injury last year, probably gonna miss. I mean, at least the front half. I think I saw he was put on the pup.
Yeah.
So, initial thoughts, Kraft man. They're third to there's and as far as odds go, Bengals or Ravens Bengals, they're pretty close in the odds, and then there's a little dip, and then we get to the Browns.
Yeah.
Might be some value in there, maybe. I wouldn't put no money on it, but I'm just saying.
I think I like Amari Cooper. I like Jerome Ford. I'm all the way out on Nick Chubb. I don't think that even if he does come back, he's going to be the same player. I like Nick Chubb a lot, and I hope he does come out and picks up where he left off. But it's pretty catastrophic injury. I don't think it's going to happen. So I like where Jerome Ford's going. But I think the Browns are just going to be ugly. Like, they're going to win games, and it's going to be ugly. They had the number 1 defense last year. Yards against. They're a great defense, and they're gonna try to win games in that kind of fashion. The weather's terrible out there in Cleveland half the season. You got that great defense. I just don't see a whole lot of points being scored over there. But I do see the Browns being a good team. And I like Amari Cooper this season, but you can miss me with Jerry Jeudy. And that's all I'll have to say about Cleveland. Chris, you got anything about any of their players you high on, low on?
So I like Amari Cooper. Like I said earlier, I like it better if Deshaun Watson's not there. If Jameis Winston gets put in, I really like Amari Cooper. Deshaun Watson, I don't know. Just watching him last season, I figured the yips was gone, like he would be fine coming in and playing. I knew it may take a minute to ramp up, but when you go all 18 or you get hurt, stuff like that, and when you are playing, it doesn't look like you even know what you're doing anymore. It's kind of hard. And then they put in Joe Flacco, who comes in and he just starts slinging that thing to Amari Cooper and David Njoku and all of them. Like, it is what it is. And as long as it's Deshaun Watson, until I see improvement, I'll start Amari Cooper and these players. David Njoku for sure be up there for my tight ends, but it hesitantly, because I have to see it happen. Their defense is really good. That's how they're going to try to win games, like Kraft said. There's not going to be a lot of points scored. You're going to hate watching your fantasy players play this team. You're going to hate it.
Yeah. And Amari Cooper's really become more of a boom bust type receiver the last few years. His finishes are still good, but he had a 51-point game at the end of the season that won people championships. But there is a misconception that he was better with Joe Flacco. He did have that 51-point game, but he had a 12-point game, 21-point game, 12-point game, 11, 22-point game with Deshaun Watson. So he was still getting targeted a lot. The least amount of targets I've seen in a single game was 6 targets against Baltimore. But he was averaging about 9 targets a game with Deshaun Watson. So even if Deshaun ain't that good, and we like to pick on him a lot, I still think he's within like the top half of quarterbacks in the league. Like, probably like QB 17, 18 as far as talent goes. I don't think Deshaun Watson is the worst by far, and he's the number 1 receiver on that team.
Yeah, man. So talking about Deshaun, let's do a little would you rather. Would you rather have Deshaun Watson or Baker Mayfield?
This redraft?
Yeah. This year.
I'd probably roll with Baker. What you think, Matt?
I think I roll with D. Watt.
I'm going to take Baker.
And Baker won me a championship last year.
I think I'm taking Baker too, man. I mean, it sucks for Deshaun because the year he was gone, I mean, we were taking him in like the first couple rounds. He was all-star, breaking out down in Houston, looking great, feeling good, playing like he's having fun, and then he went through all that, dude. And one of the main things that separates good players from great players in the NFL is dealing with that mental, dealing with all the outside air, all the outside noise, and being able to cut it all out and just play the game when it's time to play. And I know everybody's probably been watching that Netflix series, Receiver, and I feel like George Kittle is the best routine. You know, he really just gets everything off his chest, gets in the game, and just plays ball and doesn't worry about anything else. And I think Deshaun Watson can't do that, and he's got to show it. But honestly, you can ask Austin, man. I have been off of Amari Cooper. He's subpar play, but the main thing is his attitude. You know, it doesn't seem like he really cares about his players and really ever has a good connection. I mean, he stepped
always on here bashing Amari Cooper.
Bro.
I've never seen Amari Cooper complain.
When Dalton, he doesn't. But what was Andy Dalton? Dude, Andy Dalton got knocked clean out, and Amari Cooper like stepped over his dead body and just walked off to the sideline. I mean,
well, fuck that ginger fuck, bro.
I mean, I understand, but it's just a thing for me. Like, that's still your quarterback, man. That's still a player on your team, and he just doesn't have that mentality, and that's okay. I mean, these superstars, receivers a lot of times they're divas, man. But I've been off of Amari Cooper. But all that being said, this year is the first year I'm actually considering it because he has been doing good, and they have the third-ranked offensive line defense. It's a team that's going to be scoring points, and it sucks they lost Chubb because Chubb is an explosive runner, but Jerome Ford is definitely in my watch list, you know, especially later on in the draft, get him for a bench spot. And like me and Austin were saying, get some players that you can play in the beginning of the season and they might not have a good end, and some in the end might not have a good beginning. And I think Jerome Ford is one of those you can put in like week 1 and get some pretty good production out of.
Look, like Jonathan Brooks or something later, or something like that. Like Jonathan Brooks or some of these rookies like Trey Benson, Marshawn Lloyd, like they usually break out second half of the season. You know, you can ride Jerome Ford for a little while.
Jerome Ford is a guy who's probably going to start. He's planted to start at running back. He's going up here. He's going behind Chase Brown, Blake Corum, Zeke, Gus Bus. So I mean, he's like a real cheap option you can have in your drafts and redraft. You know, you could put in your lineup week 1, and he's going to get the carries. He's going to get the volume. You know what I'm saying, Craftman? Might not happen all year, but it might. So that's as cheap as it gets.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like Nick Chubb and his injury, as great as Nick Chubb is, in the NFL, if you're a little bit hampered or you're coming off a massive injury like that, there's always the healthier player behind you, even if their talent isn't as good as you are at full strength. They can fill in and, you know, produce a massive role, which Jerome Ford did last year, especially at running back. And if Nick Chubb just isn't himself anymore, it's just going to be a problem. And I think Jerome Ford could have definitely the start of the season, and it might just be the full season, unfortunately.
Well, Nick Chubb's injury that he had last year was to the same leg that happened while he was at Georgia, wasn't it?
It was.
So.
Yeah, same injury. But they said he wasn't going to come back from it then.
Yeah. And he's you know, now, 6-7 years older. Yeah.
Yeah. He's not a young spry whippersnapper in college anymore. A young spring chicken. He's a little bit older. He is out there squatting all them pounds though. You know, Chris, I did say before we move on, I did tell Dunk this is the first year I'll say I'm worried about Deshaun Watson. The first. I hadn't been worried about him in the past, and I'd still take him in certain situations, but hopefully our guy steps it up this year. We'll see.
He really wasn't that bad last year. I'm looking at his stats right here. He had a negative game, but he only played 16% of snaps that game. But From the games he played, he scored 23, 16, 25, 22, and 19 points. I mean, I had Trevor Lawrence last year, and that's better than Trevor Lawrence was doing for my ass at the start of the season.
Yeah, I mean, he averaged 11.13 half PPR points per game, which is.
You talking about Amari? I'm talking about Deshaun Watson.
Oh shit! I thought we were talking about Jerome Ford. My bad.
Oh yeah.
Him too, though. Yeah, I'm with you. The Browns. I like Jerome Ford, and I like D. White in spots. Game wise, I don't know.
Yeah, my main guy to talk about we touched on him a little bit is David Njoku. He's right there at the end of he's end of a tier for me, where it's like Jake Ferguson, and then Njoku, and then Dallas Goedert's like behind over there. I hadn't heard his take on Njoku. Should Njoku be in that tier with like Evan Ingram and Jake Ferguson and stuff like that, or should he be in a tier lower than that with like Dalton Schultz and Dallas Goedert and Pat Freiermuth, players like that?
You got Jake Ferguson over Dalton Schultz?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do.
Jesus, they're the same player. They're the same person. Literally the same person.
You got the number 2 on an offense compared to the number 4.
Right. He's got.
I mean, I ain't hating.
Hank Dell, Nico, Stephon, Joe Mixon, and then.
I would have Njoku I would say I would take Njoku easily over Jake Ferguson, and who was the other?
Dallas Goedert.
Dallas Goedert. I mean,
I would
probably
too.
take Njoku.
I like Njoku.
I do like Njoku.
So 80. That's my biggest struggle is Jake Ferguson or Njoku. So it's pretty much. What about Brock Bowers? Would you take a chance on him, or would you just draft David Njoku in redraft?
Give me Njoku.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think Njoku's at the end of that tier for me. That's the reason I want to bring it up.
If it's standard scoring, like not tight end premium, I would probably go Njoku. If it was tight end premium, I would go ahead and try Bowers and see, because they got Michael Mayer over there too, but they drafted. I've said it before. I think that they just drafted the best player on the board because their situation was fucked. Like they didn't know what the fuck they were gonna do. Like they didn't get one of them quarterbacks, and I know that they were freaking out. There's no way that was their plant pick. No way. But
yeah,
I mean the kid, he's gonna play. You don't take him that high if you ain't gonna play him.
Yeah,
I like Brock Bowers, and I guess it just comes down to whether you want to risk it. Because I feel like Brock Bowers is probably a shoe-in for best value pick, where he's going in drafts, and what his ceiling could be. It just all comes down to quarterback play, man. I think he's got the talent to be great, but I just don't think there's going to be enough targets there, man. So that's what
go ahead. I'll take it, crap bag. Go ahead.
I was just shaking my head because that was just absolute horseshit. That end was just. There's no way.
I bet you would have said that about Sam Laporta last year. You would have said the same thing about Sam Laporta last year.
We literally did say the same thing about Sam Laporta. I will say that. We were like,
boom.
Somebody traded like 2 picks and went up and got his guy, and we were all like, oh, who the fuck is Sam Laporta? Dumbass motherfucker. Yeah. This dude was the
Laporta had a better quarterback. That's the only thing that stops me from going for Brock Bowers is the quarterback.
But I don't know. You're just saying, like, you said it like it didn't matter that much. Oh, the quarterback. If the quarterback play gets better, the quarterback play is going to be terrible. You got Devontae Adams that's going to get 150 targets. Jacoby Myers ain't no slouch, and like they're going to run the ball a lot. They're going to be a slow ass offense. They're going to run the ball. They got a good defense. I just don't. I love Brock Bowers, and he's going to be great for Dynasty, but this year. Nah, you can miss me with Brock Bowers. I ain't spending no draft capital on Brock Bowers.
Crap, man. The Raiders will be a bottom 10 offense this year. A bottom 10 offense. I don't even know if I want Zamir White this year. Let's move on, man. Let's talk about who we at. The last team. One
Steelers.
more. Who is it? The Steelers. How did I forget about them twice? That shit is so hilarious.
You didn't. You saved them for last, man.
All right. We talk about Pittsburgh. They just brought in Russ. They just brought in Justin Fields. Deontay Johnson out the door. What else did they do this year? Let's see. They drafted Roman Wilson and brought in Arthur Smith. Big. That's huge. Got to know that because now it changes the scheme of things. Kenny Pickett gone. Crap, man. Pittsburgh. Listen, I'm gonna spit it off, and I'm gonna let y'all talk about the Steelers. The main thing I want to say about the Steelers is I kind of like the way they approached the quarterback this year. They're not really spending that much money, and they went in there and changed their room up. And George Pickens as my wide receiver 2 redraft best ball. I feel really comfortable like that. He's going as a wide receiver 26. If I could get him as my wide receiver 2. I feel really good. Go ahead, Kraft man.
Yeah, and even more in redraft, you can get him as your wide receiver 3. I think I got him. That's what I did in my last mock draft, and I think he's the perfect wide receiver 3. A player that can break out, but still is probably going to have a good season. I just like the progress he's shown from his first 2 years. Went from 800 yards to 1,140 yards. That seems like a lot for George Pickens, but it was so inconsistent last year. That was the only thing that messed him up. But I've said this on the podcast before. The Steelers threw for 13 touchdowns last season as a team. Russell Wilson threw for 26 with the Broncos. So, and Deontay Johnson's gone. I just don't see a world outside of injury where George Pickens just doesn't get a lot of targets. Still a big play guy. I like the talent. He just got everything that I want in a receiver, and I liked him since college because he was a dog. So I'm a big believer in George Pickens, just like I was last year when we were talking about him in the Crew versus Twitter episode.
Yeah. Definitely got to bring one of them episodes back.
We coming back. We coming back with it.
Yep, no doubt. And what you think about Pittsburgh and George Pickens and Russ and the whole shebang?
And I'm glad we kind of saved them for last because I've been thinking a lot about Pittsburgh, man, because they got the pedigree, historically a great team. They still refuse to lose. They still went 50% last year. They didn't have a losing season. And, I think they got a lot of young superstars. Like we said, George Pickens, I mean, he's got the talent as long as he can stay healthy and not do anything stupid. Najee, Jalen Warren, both really good. I don't want either one of them because I think it's like a true committee there right now, and it's hard to tell. But the quarterback situation is what piques my interest, man, because I think the decision was ingenious, and it really motivates both players to play. I think they got Justin Fields, for the long run, and took a chance on Russ. I think Russ can. I mean, he's was inches away from winning league MVP multiple times. Just couldn't do it, and he's got the talent, and he deserves. I think he should go out on a good note, and hopefully he has a good season. But honestly, I think Justin Fields is going to end up taking that starting spot, and I think it's going to be one of the most improved teams this year. I mean, in my opinion, they killed the draft. I feel like they got one of the highest rookie draft grades from most everybody. Kind of went under the radar. Roman Wilson, that was a great pick. He fell way down the draft because of his injury. They shored up the offensive line, and Mike Tomlin is one of my favorite coaches, if not my favorite in the league, and he knows he's a great leader of men, and I think they're going to be competing for that division this year, man. Honestly, I do. It's going to be a tight one. We'll have to see.
Well, Chris, what do you think of the George Pickens and the Steelers right now?
I think so. Bringing in Arthur Smith is going to change that offense a lot. They're going to be a run-first offense. Dude, got to establish that this is going to be a run-first offense. What I think George Pickens excels at is in Arthur Smith's offense, he employs a lot of play action. In that, George Pickens can create separation. Not only can he do that, he is your contested catcher. He will be getting these targets, these fades in the end zone and stuff like that, and they're allowing him to go up and catch it, to fight and catch it in contact and bring the ball down. That is going to help George Pickens a lot, I feel like. Scheme-wise, though, I feel like it's going to work better with Justin Fields than Russ. Because with the added benefit, now you can throw an RPO out there, and not only do you have Najee or Jalen Warren out there, you got Justin Fields out there that can keep the ball and run it as well. The passing, I think, will be a bit better with Russ, but Justin Fields, I think, is going to be a better fit to Arthur Smith, and that's why I could see this dude end up starting over Russ. Even though I would play Russ this year, let him run out, do what he wants to do, keep Justin Fields for the long run, maybe draft somebody else if it don't work out. But Justin Fields is going to get on the field. He's going to be on the field. He's going to be throwing out some crazy formations.
Yep. I do kind of believe that. I mean, Justin Fields is my favorite pick in round 18 best ball craft.
Hey, he going to be running back the kickoffs. He gonna be running them kickoffs.
Man, he ain't gonna be running.
He might be like he gonna be like Josh Cribbs, getting you just a touchdown or something like.
Man, he's not gonna be running no kickoffs.
he
might do some fake. He might do some fake punts, fake kicks, or something.
Yeah, he is.
He's perfect for that.
He is the kicker receiver. He's the kick receiver for their team. He's going to be on the kickoff.
I don't know, man. I'm a firm believer. I think Chris kind of said it. Like, I think he thinks Justin Fields, the offense. He was saying that Justin Fields, that offense could run better with Justin Fields, but he also said he thinks Russ is going to start all season, which is where I'm at. I think Russ is going to start all year. Pittsburgh ain't had a losing season in who knows how long, forever. They're not going to lose. They're not going to have a losing season this year with Russ. He's not the worst quarterback. And I just think, I don't know. I think they're going to be run heavy, like you said, Chris. Najee's going to go off. He's going to have a lot of goal line carries. Jalen Warren's going to do his thing. But as far as like Roman Wilson goes, who we all like, there's a couple reports coming out that Van Jefferson's going to be running as wide receiver too. And I just want to remind everybody with Arthur Smith veteran, and with veteran coaches, they do this. They put veterans ahead of rookies. There was a time last year where Arthur Smith with the Falcons had Tyler Algier ahead on the depth chart of Bijan Robinson, which we all knew was bullshit. So
it's a head game.
I'm just warning everybody, don't just take it with a grain of salt when it comes to these veteran coaches, because they will put the veteran ahead on the depth chart at this time of year. So not to say I don't think Roman Wilson's going to be a great redraft pick or nothing like that, but in Dynasty, don't freak out because they're putting Van Jefferson ahead of him right now.
Yeah, that's usual, and I don't know if a lot of it is a head game, but like you said, I mean, the older guy, he has the job to lose. The younger guy hasn't proven himself in the league at all, and yeah, I think it's more of just a head game. They all play with each other, keep everybody guessing, especially with the Justin Fields running kicks back. I think that was marketing scheme or whatever. And if he does, they're retarded, in my opinion. Like, goes out there, first play, gets fucking slammed.
I disagree with the rule change. I think that it could lead to some very fucking weird fantasy outcomes for shit. Like, I really think that it could. That. Like, because you got, like, I made that thing about Josh Cribbs, like, in them deep, like, 14 and 16 team leagues that people used to have back in the day. Like, if you in a championship or something, I mean, you ain't got, with that whole roster, you ain't got nobody after, like, your wide receiver 1 and 2. You throwing, like, fucking players that may not even get on the field. You could just, back then, you just throw Josh Cribbs up in that bitch and maybe he'll run a punt back or something for you.
Take it to the
get
crib.
you a tutty or something.
Calvin Austin will be back there returning kicks, or Cordero Patterson. But I do want to talk to y'all about this a little bit. We didn't touch on we know they're going to be run heavy. Is anybody here high on Najee this season? Deontay Johnson leaving, does that open up some more receptions for Najee and Jalen Warren? Because I think it does. I just want to hear y'all's thoughts on Najee, Jalen Warren, who's going to be the best back for this team this year.
I mean, I think I'm gonna go with Najee because I've seen Najee perform very well. Like I've seen him have a really good season. I've seen Jalen Warren have a really good season, but Najee was dealing with that injury. Like you said, they got rid of Deontay Johnson, which that dude, I mean, his target share and his volume that he was getting was absolutely ridiculous. And that's got to go somewhere. And it's not, as much as George Pickens owners want to believe that, George Pickens is going to be Deontay Johnson. George Pickens is not the same type of receiver Deontay Johnson is. So those targets are going to have to be shared somewhere else. And I think that they're going to throw the ball out of the backfield a lot more with Arthur Smith. I see a lot of screens coming out, some where the running back will just block off in the play action and then just immediately break off. I could see Najee benefiting from that.
Well, Javonte Williams and Samaje Perine had a lot of receptions with Russ last season. So he's not – he'll definitely dump the ball off. So I could definitely see an uptick for Najee and Jalen Warren in the passing game. I mean, nothing incredible, but, Najee, you give him 30 receptions, 40 receptions this season, give, Warren around that same amount. That adds a lot to your fantasy value, but there's been a lot of hype about Cordell Patterson coming in. Do y'all have – any worries about him stealing goal line work or anything like that? Because he followed Arthur Smith.
Not this time. Not this go round.
I think that he may be used as a decoy. He may snatch now. He may snatch one. He may snatch one from you during the year, but I don't think it's gonna be like. It ain't gonna be like Jamal Williams, where the Detroit Lions just all of a sudden were on the half-yard line every fucking game and just he was just getting the touchdown. Like, it's not gonna be like that. He's going to be out there, I feel like, but I think it's going to be a decoy play.
At the goal line, like, that's going to be Najee all day.
Yeah. It's hard. It's very hard to believe. Go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, man. When it comes down to it, what's Najee's ADP right now, dude? Let me see.
I'll pull it up right now, Ian. Do
we know where he's going? Yeah, look that up. But without even knowing for sure, I think where you can get Jalen Warren and where you can get Najee Harris, I think Jalen Warren will be the one I would target.
Where's he at? Real quick, I got you right here, Ian. Najee Harris is going. I'm gonna give you both ADPs, but Najee Harris is going at running back 23, and that's behind guys like Ramondre Stevenson, DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery, James Conner, Aaron Jones. And then Jalen Warren's going as running back 31. He's going behind Javonte, Zach Moss, Nick Chubb, Jonathan Brooks. Yeah, I agree with you. Go ahead, Ian.
Yeah, so that is the main thing that puts Warren over Najee this year for me. I think Najee does have the ability to have a great year. We'll just see how it pans out, but I think I would target Jalen Warren. I think Najee is the running back one, and I just drew a blank. Was it Jalen Warren is the 1B essentially? So I'd rather pay a little bit less, and because I feel like you're taking a risk on either one of them, just like Deontay Foreman and or Coleman, the Atlanta running back. Well, you know what I mean?
You talking about Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman?
Freeman and Coleman, yeah. I feel like it's kind of that kind of situation where they're both good, but get Coleman a little cheaper.
I used to love just streaming Tevin Coleman when he would get like 2 or 3 touchdowns, dude. Like, that shit was just so awesome. Just throwing him in there in the flex. He just goes
Freeman got hurt. Every time Freeman got a little turf toe, I was like, yeah, he about to ball out.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you, but I mean, Najee, where he's going, I would definitely take a shot on Najee too. I would like them both. I'm holding on to Jalen Warren in Dynasty literally just to see if he's going to be the next Austin Eckler. Just to see.
Yeah, I would too. He's a little old though. He's older than Najee right now.
Yeah,
Jalen Warren is.
They're the same age. I mean, they're close.
Oh damn! I didn't even realize that.
All right. Well, before we get out of here, I gotta ask, and we're gonna rank them up right now. The odds: Baltimore 110. They're the favorites. Cincinnati plus 180. Cleveland plus 600. Pittsburgh plus 1100. Rank them. Craftman, go ahead. Top to bottom.
All right, I got the Ravens winning the division, and then I got the Browns, and then the Bengals and the Steelers. As much as I talk great about the Bengals, their defense is absolutely atrocious. They're the worst defense in the division by far, and defense wins games. So I think the Bengals finished third in the division. I think the Browns number 2.
Ian, how's the division shake up?
Man, gotta go Ravens number 1. I mean, they went, they went the distance last year. They look solid, and I don't think they're going to be that much worse this year, if not better. After them, I'm going to have to go Cleveland, and then the Steelers, and then the Bengals. Man, like Austin said, that defense is bad. Cleveland has top 3 offensive line, top 3 defense, at least top 5 defense. Quarterback is questionable there for me, but they're solid in a lot of other places. And Pittsburgh, I think they refuse to lose. They got a lot of opportunities there. Shored up that offensive line. I think they're going to give them a run for their money, man. I wanted to put Pittsburgh on the top, but I don't think they're quite there yet.
Chris, what you think? This division from top to bottom.
Oh, Chris making roster moves over here. He's on Doo-Doo Dynasty making roster moves.
Oh, Chris can't hear me, can he?
Now, I guess his headphones are jacked up.
All right, well, shoot, crap, man. Here's where I stand. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm going. Chris, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Rank the division real quick. How you think it finishes out from top to bottom?
Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Steelers.
All right. So, crap, man, this is where I stand. I'm going I'm going to put my money on Cincinnati. Plus 180. I'm going Cincinnati, Baltimore, Cleveland, Pittsburgh. And I will put money on Cincinnati. For sure.
All these teams are going to be good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not saying that the team that finishes last in the division is going to be a terrible team. Didn't three teams make? Yeah, 3 teams made the playoffs last year in this division,
right?
And the Bengals didn't have Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
I think the year before that, all 4 of them were in the. They had 2 in the wild card and 2 in the division. It was wild.
Yeah.
Wait, no. Yeah, because there's 4 wild card spots. Yeah, it was. Yeah, man, it's a good division, and it's gonna stay that way for a little bit. We'll see. I'm excited about it.
All right, well, I say we wrap up. This is the AFC North episode, The Breakdown, with your boy Matt Hamm, Craftman, C Swizzy, and Ian Pate Poopa, cousin Ian. Like we say every time, 5-star review. Thank y'all for listening to the podcast. We enjoy doing it. Craftman, you got anything to say to the folks out there?
Nah, I really enjoyed this episode being with you guys. We hadn't had a 4-pack in a little while. Drinking the 6-pack, talking with the 4-pack. Let's go. That was a good episode.
See, Swizzy, you got anything for the crowd out there?
I'm be trying to get back on more. They're busy as hell.
Well, we about to do another one, Chris. You think you're done for tonight?
Yeah, I'm definitely done after this
Chris
one.
is done for the night. I'm good for one more, if y'all are. Something to y'all. Ian, you got anything to say to the folks out there?
Yeah, man, I always got something to say. But no, I appreciate y'all having me on, man. It's always a blast, dude. Like we can talk for hours about this shit. We gotta practice. What's the word I'm looking for? Either way, we got to make ourselves shut up talking so the other one can have something to say, because we could just go on and on. But leave us a 5-star review, man. We love doing this, and if you're listening this far, probably like us a little bit. And yeah, man. I'll keep it going. I'm gonna have to think about it. It wasn't likely though, because I could talk ball all night, and I'm excited. This shit's getting closer and closer, man. Finally, stuff's going on. But yeah, dude, always a pleasure. Good to have the 4-pack. You're the man, Matt.
All right,
Austin,
well,
you suck. Chris, nice haircut.
well, shoot, that about wraps it on up, man. So we out.
Peace.
Hey.